Welcome back, everyone, to the BGF podcast, episode number 33. I'm your host, Gianluca, alongside of
Brandon.
Today we got the week. What week is it? 11?
Yeah, week 11 picks.
Week 11 picks. God damn, things are rolling. Things are flying. Season's passing us by. And we're more than halfway there now, so that's sad. But let's get into this. We got some interesting matchups this week. We were looking at the spreads a little earlier, and honestly, the lines are really, really tough this week. So, I mean, it starts off with a bang Thursday night. You guys are going to see this on the Friday, so...
We're going to know the result of this game already.
Thursday night, we got the Baltimore Ravens opening up at 3.5-point favorites over the Bengals. Who do you got in this spot? I know who I'm riding with.
This is a really tough spread because I feel like Baltimore's been a team that I've had a hard time predicting in the last few weeks. Obviously, last week, I picked them and they lose.
Yeah.
It looked good earlier on in the game, but Cleveland ends up coming back. Another divisional game for them 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to take... I even took Cincinnati last week. I don't know who you take. I'm still undecided a little bit.
Because of the divisional matchup here, I'm going Cincinnati. I don't like the 3.5 spread. I do think Baltimore wins this game, but by like a field goal. I don't like the 3.5 here. I'm going Cincy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati walks in and beats them up in Baltimore. I'm going to take Cincinnati here. 3.5 just feels like the safer line. If this was at 2.5, I'd maybe favor Baltimore here, but at 3.5, I'm going to take Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. And then moving on now to the Sunday slates. I don't know if this game is in Europe. Dallas, Carolina.
No. There's no. I don't think there's any.
There's no more, right? That the Europe series is done. Okay. Dallas 10.5 over the Carolina Panthers, and I mean we've seen Dallas play against these lesser quality opponents and these lesser defenses, and they've gotten it done. So I'm not scared to take Dallas in this spot. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. We've seen Dallas in the past weeks. When they come up against these lower end teams, they usually just smash them. The defense shows up, gets a few turnovers, and that sparks them. And credit to Dallas though, in the last few weeks, Dak's played very well. Even though the quality of opposition hasn't been that great, he has played like an MVP candidate. But let me slow down on that because I know Cowboy fans have been...
You started it.
I've been starting that. And even CeeDee Lamb as well. It's been nice to see him getting going this season. And I'm going to take Dallas at 10.5 here.
Yeah, no, just shout out to Dak real quick. Really, really good offensive display lately. He has been good. So if he can keep that going, maybe Dallas has got a team here later on in the season. We'll see. But yeah, moving on here to another divisional AFC North matchup. The Cleveland Browns opening at 4.5-point favorites over the Pittsburgh Steelers. This line really surprised me. I know when the lines opened, Deshaun was supposed to play. Obviously, we know what happened with him. He's undergoing season-ending surgery. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson's coming in, and
we saw the first game he played against Baltimore. It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty, and my God, does he have a test against Pittsburgh? This defense is elite, and yeah, I feel for Cleveland, but I think this is a pretty slam dunk Pittsburgh pick right here.
I feel like this is a pretty easy line to take here. I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well. 4.5 for them to cover a plus 4.5. They're not even favored here, so I think this is pretty easy for Pittsburgh. I think we both think they're going to win this game, and So one thing though for Cleveland with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Hopefully for him, he can bounce back. Now he has the week of practice, so you'd expect that it'll be better than it was against Baltimore. If you remember, it was like last second that they just threw him into the deep end.
Yeah, they sort of screwed him that week.
And even with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, with how good he was in preseason, it gave them the chance to trade away Josh Dobbs to Arizona. If they would have kept him, I wonder how this season would have went for them. If it would have maybe went a little bit different, even though they do have a good record there. But now without Watson, you expect them to kind of fade away, even though their defense is one of the best in the league.
I want to thank Cleveland for that. Gave us Joshua Dobbs for basically nothing, so love that. But yeah, made up a great point. What if he stayed in Cleveland? With the way this defense has been playing, and we know that they've got a decent O-line down there in Cleveland, would he have been good? I believe he would have, but thank you, Cleveland, for messing up yet again with your QB situation. We love that. Anyways, moving on to another divisional matchup. My God, a lot of divisional matchups here. The Detroit Lions, 10.5 over the Chicago Bears, who are getting Justin Fields back. Detroit's been hot. They are at home, 10.5. What do you think?
This is another tough, very tough line.
Yeah.
Like, logic says, oh, Detroit's easily going to win this game. They might smash the Bears. But, I don't know, 10.5 is one of the harder lines to cover because you kind of need 2 touchdowns anyway with this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna take Detroit here. You know what? They've been one of the better teams in the NFC this year. One of the best teams in the league, honestly. And yeah, I'm gonna take them here, and I think they're gonna go to 8-2.
Yeah, I don't hate that take, but I am going with the Chicago Bears. I think they have
Fields back.
Some revenge coming Detroit's way. I know Detroit beat them earlier on, but Chicago's got healthier over the last few stretches. Defense has slightly improved. Justin Fields is back. Maybe he sparks something. Who knows? But I'm taking Detroit here. I don't like this line for Detroit. I'm taking Chicago here. I don't like this line for Detroit. That was my bad. And yeah, let's go move on along here. We got the Houston Texans, 4.5-point favorites over the Cardinals. Another tough one. Another tough spot.
Yeah, because I feel like Arizona is right now one of those tough teams to really bet on. Because, like, with Kyler, we saw last week, they obviously get a win. And it's not the 2-8 team that we saw earlier on in the year with Kyler there. So 4.5 against Houston. Houston's been rolling, so it's kind of hard to really bet against them when the line isn't really that high. Obviously, 4.5 is not ideal. You'd like the 2.5s there. But yeah, I'm going to take Houston here, 4.5, and I'm not going to overthink it, especially at home.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you here. 4.5. I'm not as comfortable taking it as if it was 2.5, but I think Houston has been rolling, and we saw what Arizona looked like with Josh Dobbs under center. Obviously, Kyler comes in, transforms his team, but that was his first game back. Now teams are ready for him. They know how he plays over the years. He's been there for like 5-6 years almost. So teams have some tape on him, and I know D'Amico Ryan's gonna have something up his sleeve for him. So going with Houston here, 4.5.
Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins favorite at 11.5 over the Las Vegas Raiders. Another super high line here. Miami is at home. I'm going to take Miami here as much as it's a high number. We've seen Miami in the past weeks, early on in the year. They've been able to cover these big lines, especially against teams that are lesser opposition. They have struggled against the bigger team, the higher opposition teams, but that's not the case right now. They're playing Vegas. Vegas is hot right now. They have won their last 2 games with Antonio Pierce as a new head coach. But I'm still going to trust Miami here. I know a lot of people are kind of fading on them and lowering their expectations with Miami, but I'm still going to take them at 11.5. A high number, but I think they could cover.
I'm going to go with Antonio Pierce and the Las Vegas Raiders. I think ever since Pierce has come in, the team wants to play for him, and they haven't been great, but they've improved, and I think they are going to have something for this Miami offense. They're going to be able to not nullify, but contain the explosive plays. I think Miami does win. I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 10, but I don't like this 11.5 because it's basically a 2-touchdown game. Mm-hmm. And I'm going with Vegas to cover.
Also for Miami, Devin Achane should be back in this game, so that's going to be entertaining to see. We know he's one of the most explosive players in the NFL, so that also gives their offense another dimension to it. So excited to see him back on the field. Next up, we have at 8.5-point favorites, the Washington Commanders at home at FedEx Field versus the New York Giants with Tommy DeVito. And the Giants have just been the team that everyone beats up on in the last few weeks since Daniel Jones has been out. And yeah, I'm going to take Washington here. There's not really any reason to back the New York Giants. They have not shown anything in the past weeks to have any confidence in them. And Washington, Sam Howell has gone under the radar as one of the better first-year QBs in the NFL. I think he's second in the league in passing yards this year. It feels like he's always going over 300 yards in these games. And I'd expect Washington to win this game. Even at 8.5, I think it is quite high, but it is the Giants, so I expect them to cover here, and I expect Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, those boys to have a big game.
Yeah, I really like what you said about that Sam Howell thing going under the radar. And I mean, that's the Eric Bieniemy effect. We see what he's doing in Washington, and then we see what Mahomes is doing in Kansas. Not that Mahomes is playing bad or anything, but he doesn't have the numbers that we're used to seeing. Mm-hmm. So Eric Bieniemy was key in Kansas, and I'm happy showcasing it in Washington. And like you said, Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants don't scare me, and I don't think they should scare anyone. We saw how they looked last week against Dallas. Obviously, Dallas is one of the better defenses, but I think Washington still has a somewhat average defense. So they'll be able to contain them and just take this pretty easily.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers on the road going to Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers, favored at 3.5 here. This is a line where it's not as easy as it looks. I don't think. I think Green Bay, as much as I don't really like their team, and I don't think Jordan Love is that great of a quarterback, I feel like they have played better football in recent weeks. I feel like the games have been a bit closer. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like it has been like that. But I don't know. The Chargers have always been a hard team to trust. I'm still going to take them here. I don't know. Green Bay, like I said, I'm not too big of a fan of that roster and their defense, which was one thing coming into the year. I expected Green Bay's defense to be like a strong suit of their team, and it just has not been that. It's been very weak for their standard, and yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers here at 3.5. They could bounce back here after a shootout loss against Detroit last week.
Yeah, and I mean we know the Chargers' offensive capabilities, and I think they're gonna expose that Green Bay defense. Ever since Jordan Addison made Jair Alexander his son, everyone's been exposing them, and it's been fun to watch. Love that as a Vikings fan. So taking the Chargers here, I think they're gonna smash the Packers, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 3-score game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, moving on here, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars 6.5-point favorites over the Tennessee Titans. And one thing I have to say about this is the Will Levis effect has died down. I mean, he came out swinging in his first game, then goes down to Pittsburgh.
He looked decent in that second game.
Looked somewhat decent, but then he goes down to Tampa, and oh my god, he didn't look great. He did not look great. So now it's the 3 games that every team has to sort of adjust to the new quarterback. It happened, and we saw Tampa close him out, so maybe he bounces back against this Jags front. I like this line at 6.5. I don't think Jacksonville's offense has been as explosive as we would have expected them to be, especially at this point in the season. Being a divisional matchup, I tend to take the underdogs unless it's a really slow, low line, and yeah, I'm going Tennessee here.
Yeah, we're gonna disagree here again. I'm gonna take Jacksonville. I feel like people are gonna be super low on them after they got blown out last week, and the offense didn't look that great, but they did go up against one of the best defenses in the NFL, and I don't think they really have that here against Tennessee.
No.
They were on a 5-game win streak going into our game against the Niners.
Yeah, since the London stretch, so that was like week 3, week 4.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, week 3. So I feel like people are kind of low on them right now, and I think Tennessee, another team I have not been too impressed with. So I'm gonna take Jacksonville at 6.5. Sorry.
Yeah.
And at home as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely doable. These lines are tough this week. I really have a lot of trouble picking. But anyways, moving on here. We got your game. San Francisco 49ers, 11.5-point favorites over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Niners are at home. So what do you think about this one?
We saw last week, like we just mentioned earlier with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Niners, they looked like we were back last week. After the bye, we know Shanahan wasn't going to go have an extra week and not have the team ready to play with Chase Young as well out there. And Steve Wilkes on the sideline. We look like a completely different team. And 11.5 is a very high line, obviously. That's basically like a 2-touchdown game. But in games where San Francisco has won this year, it feels like they've always been like big scores, and we've blown out the opposition in the fourth quarter. You don't see our players out there. Tampa Bay, though, is a good defense. They are a solid team, all in all. They do rely heavily on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on offense, though, and Rachaad White. That's one guy that's a guy I doubted early on in the year. I said, he's just a pass-catching back, whatever, but
He's proved you wrong.
He's had a good few weeks here, and overall a good season. But yeah, I'm still going to ride with my Niners here. I'm going to take the 49ers at 11.5. I feel like it's probably going to be another blowout win, especially at Levi's, too. I feel like we could blow them out here again.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to go with the Niners here. So I really liked what you guys did against the Jags. Obviously, you smashed them. I wasn't watching it too much. I was paying attention more to my Vikings, but got a chance to check the highlights, and You guys look good. That D-line looked much improved. I don't know what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but they were pressuring Trevor Lawrence all day. And Tampa Bay, I mean, they have injuries on that front, so I think you guys are going to have a field day going after Baker Mayfield. And this should be it is a big spread. They are a good defense, but I like you guys here at 11.5. I'm taking them.
And this matchup also was Brock Purdy's first career NFL start, so I'm sure this game means kind of something to him here, and we did smash them as well in that game, so
Hey,
I expect the same result here at home.
make it a 1-year anniversary thing. A yearly tradition to smash the Bucks. But anyways.
And they got no Tom Brady this time, so it should be even easier.
Exactly. Moving on to another divisional matchup. The Buffalo Bills 6.5 over the New York Jets. I was going back and forth with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna take Buffalo, and I'm not gonna say anything. What do you think?
Yeah, Buffalo has really been one of the harder teams to bet on this year. Obviously, they're 6.5 here against the Jets. We know the Jets play every team hard just because the defense can always keep them in a game. It's really the offense that's been the question mark all season. It's still mind-boggling that they never went out and acquired a quarterback, but that's a story for another day. I'm gonna take the Jets here. You know what? I feel like they're gonna be able. It's gonna be one of these games like the first game of the season where they'll be able to keep Buffalo close, and then maybe they win the game, maybe they don't. We obviously in the first game they won in overtime off that return from Xavier Gibson. But I think even if they don't win this game, I think they could still cover the line. Divisional game as well. So I'll take New York here at 6.5 point dogs.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say about Buffalo is they fired their OC, so I feel like players are gonna be playing like with an edge this week. So that's why I'm taking Buffalo. But don't hate the Jets pick here at all. Do not hate it.
Even that them firing Ken Dorsey, I didn't really understand that. I don't think
he's the issue.
Yeah, I don't think he's really the issue, but we'll see. Maybe Buffalo has a fire to them this week, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Moving on to another divisional matchup here. The Seattle Seahawks are basically a pick and 0.5 favorites over the LA Rams. Now, this is your division. I was surprised with this line. Were you surprised with it?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought the Seahawks would be favored in this game, but they've obviously been struggling in the past few weeks. We've seen Geno Smith. He hasn't really had the same look to him as he did last year.
I mean, last week he looked pretty good.
I'm not.
You're just
I'm not convinced, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of. I wonder what the line is at now, because obviously these lines are from Tuesday.
Go check real quick.
Yeah.
Go make a little pit stop at Bet365.
I don't know. There's something about it. The line being this low feels like it's like a trap, and the Rams feels
-1.
like that's -1, so it's still basically the same thing. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna take the Rams. This is like the unpopular pick, but the Rams haven't even looked good recently. But Stafford is back, so maybe that makes a difference. And I might look like an absolute idiot after this, but screw it. I'm gonna go for the Rams here over the Seahawks.
Gotta go for the win.
I'm feeling an upset.
I like it. I don't hate it. Anyways, moving on to the Sunday nighter. My game, my boys. Denver Broncos, 2.5 point favorites over the Minnesota Vikings. It is in Mile High. It is in Denver. I'm still upset at this line, but I mean,
I kind of get why it's at 2.5, because Denver is playing better. The defense obviously is playing better as well, and they're at home. So
it's another opportunity for Josh Dobbs to shock the world. If he makes it 3 in a row against 3 better than average defenses, especially the last 2 weeks, 2 very good defenses. You're playing Denver, who, like Brandon mentioned, they're looking a lot better. If you go out here and drop 28 on these guys, we're winning a Super Bowl. There's nothing else to say.
They already know what they're gonna say. Oh, it's Denver. You should be beating them.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? You're right, but Denver beat the Chiefs. So, where were you guys when Denver was winning games? You were saying how good they are and whatever. Don't listen to the media is the point I'm trying to make here, because they're always biased. It's a week-to-week league, and opinions change week to week. So, anyways, Vikings have been hot for 5 games in a row. Kevin O'Connell has been calling some great plays. He's been doing really good in that department. Justin Jefferson
back in this
should be back. Should be, unless something happens today or tomorrow. So, barring any injury or barring any setbacks, he's back. He's playing, and just imagine Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and T.J. Hawkinson in a single game.
Well, we saw it early on in the year, but now this is second half of the year, Jordan Addison's,
Yeah.
and second half of the year, Hawkinson, with the way he was playing
Yeah.
to start the year. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a very interesting game. Two teams that are on the up. And if you haven't yet checked out our video from Wednesday, we did do a deep dive on the Minnesota Vikings and how they've got under the radar in their 5-game win streak.
Yeah.
That video, we got a lot of support from you guys on that video, so we appreciate that. And if you haven't watched it, go check it out. It should be up here, a card. I don't know which side it's going to be, but anyway. So go check that out if you haven't already. We'll link it in the description. And thank you guys for your support on that video.
Yeah,
but
we really appreciate it.
I'm also going to go Minnesota here.
I
against
like
Denver.
it. I like it. We're both going Vikings. And yeah, moving on now, the last game of the week, the Super Bowl rematch. Game that was circled on everyone's calendar at the beginning of the year. Kansas City Chiefs open at 2.5-point favorites over the Philadelphia Eagles, and KC is at home. Because of that, I'm going to go Kansas City here at 2.5. I think Kansas City is going to have something to prove. They haven't been playing elite football yet, which is kind of scary because they are 7-2. Whereas the Eagles have sort of turned a switch, and their offense has been rolling the last couple of weeks.
AKA AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown. he's been doing his thing. But I think Kansas City here and their defense is really going to stand up and show out and show why they've been one of the better units in the league and why they are one of those elite defenses that are just sort of under the radar as we speak. And I think 2.5 is a very good spread for Kansas City, very favorable, and I like it here.
Yeah, this is a very good prime time lineup this week. Obviously, we have Baltimore and Cincinnati tonight. Denver, Minnesota, which is an underrated matchup.
Yeah.
Two teams that are playing a lot better. And KC, Philly. What more can you ask for? That's a very good game as well. Super Bowl rematch. I don't know if I'm going to pick Kansas City here at 2.5. I don't know if I'm being hopeful because I really want Philly to lose this game. So San Francisco can come back into the fold for the number 1 seed. But we know Kansas City in a big game like this, they'll usually come out, perform, and I'd expect Travis Kelce to have a big game here. He's been up and down this season, but in a game like this, I feel like he'll have a good game, and I'm going to take Kansas City. I'm excited to see this game on Monday, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then just side note, there are 4 teams on bye. We'll just go over them really quick here. The Atlanta Falcons sitting at 4-6 heading into the bye. Obviously, you take a huge loss to the Cards. What happens in Atlanta? I feel like if they don't turn their season around, there has to be a change made somewhere. Hopefully in the coaching staff. That's just me as a fan speaking. What do you think about their situation?
I feel like this was the week to get rid of Arthur Smith. If they're going to do it, you're coming off 2 bad losses.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, and plus you have a bye, so this is the perfect time to get a new guy in and giving him the extra week to get the team prepared. But by the looks of things, that's not going to happen. It looks like they're going to stick with Artie. And I think they're making a mistake here, but anyway, that's for Falcons. I feel bad for Falcons fans having to deal with this garbage where you draft all these high draft picks on offense and they're not even utilized. But we've said this all before. Everyone said this before. It's unfortunate what Arthur Smith is doing with these Falcons. And yeah.
Yeah, and moving on to New Orleans here, they take a loss against the Vikings. Beautiful matchup, and
Derek Carr getting injured.
Yeah, I mean they go on bye. What do you do with the quarterback here? You have a week to consider it and really think who you go. I really was impressed with what Jameis done. I love the fact that he just goes downfield and he doesn't care. He just doesn't give a shit. Sometimes he just chucks up a prayer and it's the funniest thing in the world, but it works. And I mean,
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and we saw against the Vikings, he was in for a half. He was, keeping up with his famous Jameis thing there where he got 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, keeping it a clean 500. And Atlanta sitting at 5-5. I think they're top of the division. I could be wrong, but I believe they are. I think the Bucs and the Falcons are chasing them. So
such a sad division.
Yeah, they have a game in hand over everyone. It's a nice little bye for them. Rest up, get players healthy, and come back strong next week. Moving on now to India. They're another team sitting at 5-5. They've had a very surprising season considering all that's happened to them. No JT for the first few weeks. Quarterback goes down for the year. Gardner Minshew comes in and he's been playing decent. He's been moving the football. I like what he's doing, and you're getting a healthy Jonathan Taylor. He's sitting on bye now for another week, so he's gonna rest up. Next week they're gonna come out play Tampa.
Yeah, for you fantasy guys, I feel like this is the week. If you want to get Jonathan Taylor, I feel like this is a good week to get him. I feel like rest of the season he might be one of the top 5. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a top 5 running back the rest of the season.
I'm working on a trade for him right now in one of my big leagues, so keep you guys updated on that. And anyways, moving on to the last team I'm by, the New England Patriots, sitting
Not
at
much to
2-8.
be said there.
Season's over. I heard rumors that Bill Belichick
Chargers.
they were gonna like sort of subtly get rid of him, so he was gonna retire, quote unquote retire, get fired.
I saw
Whatever you want to read.
I saw rumors that the Chargers already have him like a deal lined up to sign him at the end of the season. I don't know how much validity there is to that, but I was seeing rumors of that on Twitter.
The thing with that, and if you want to bring in Bill's a great defensive coach.
I think his days are done, man.
He's a great defensive coach. He can make a defensive unit good. Brandon Staley's supposed to be a defensive coordinator at heart, but he's not doing it. We see what the Chargers defense looks like, and it's not great, so no more to be said there. But yeah, anyways, moving on now for us, our survivor picks for the week before we forget. Just lock that in.
That's one thing I'll give you credit for every week. I'm always forgetting. I'm always going to forget, but you always bring them back up. So
I do my best, but sometimes I do forget, so we're doing our best out here, guys. This week's been tough. Brandon's still you're undefeated.
Yeah, I'm still undefeated.
Still undefeated, strikeless, so maybe he does it for the rest of the way. I'm also up. I won last week. I think it's 5-4 the record in the spreads. I could be wrong, but either way, I know I'm up 1. So yeah, we'll see what Brandon goes here. I'm gonna let him get the first digs.
One of the big teams I haven't picked yet is Detroit. I was looking it over, and against the Bears, I feel like this is a nice spot. Them and the Niners are the two probably best teams that I haven't picked yet.
You didn't take the Niners?
No, I haven't taken the Niners yet.
That's wild.
This could be a good spot to take them, but no, I'm gonna take. I don't know. I don't even know between the Niners and the Lions. I'm kind of debating here.
I'm gonna go with the Lions.
You haven't picked them yet? No, okay. So you're gonna take the Lions. I was looking at the rest of. You look at the next weeks. The Niners do play the Eagles and Seahawks. So.
But I feel like there's gonna be one game. I think I saw one game for you guys that I really liked upcoming. But anyways, yeah, you do you. If you want to take the Niners, go for it.
Screw it. I'm gonna take my boys here. I'll take the Niners. I feel like this is like a super lock here. I think we're gonna win this game. So I will take the 49ers here, and you're gonna take the Lions. So
I'm gonna take the Lions, yeah.
Those are our picks for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Expect for our next video we will be doing another in-depth video talking about breakdown on a team. We're not 100% locked in on that yet. We'll see what happens this week, and we'll make our decision there. Like we said earlier, thank you for your support on those videos. If you guys like them, keep the comments coming and let us know what you think. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.